Hi, good evening. It's a bit late tonight. I'm not going to do a long one because I am really tired. I woke up every hour last night, so I've not had a very good sleep. And I hope whoever's just joined could just let me know that it's clear. Yes, I have white stuff stuck to my face. It's a Facebook filter, and I quite like it. So what I wanted to talk about tonight is, and something happened today, a real live event happened and I had to use all my tools to figure out how to deal with it and how to cope with something that's happened. And I'll get to what it was in a moment. So this is like about when something shakes you up, when something happens like an argument, or you accuse someone of something, or someone blames you for something, or there's just like some blow up, some tension blows, and it comes out of nowhere, and it shakes you up, and it's a bit of a shock, and you're like, you don't know how to deal with it, and yeah, so I want to talk about how you deal with that, and different, well, what I did today. I'll explain what I did today. And what happened was a situation on our way to school, and I thought I'd indicated to turn, well, I'm sure I indicated to turn left, and there was a mum crossing the road. They hadn't started crossing the road as I turned. To me, they were quite far away, so no, there was no problem really. But she came up to the car afterwards, and she was absolutely livid. She was like going purple in the face, and she was screaming at me over Isla about indicating, and I could have really hurt them, and all this sort of stuff. And it was a bit of a shock, so I apologised and said, I'm sorry, but I think I did indicate, but at least nothing happened. But she was just like, she was gone. She was like so angry. So the best thing I could do was just walk away with Isla, get her to school. And then, when something like that happens, you get quite shook up. And the feeling you have is, if anyone could let me know that this is actually clear and you can see me, that would be great, because I have filmed somewhere it's so blurry that it's barely watchable. So I'm just talking about what happens when you get really shook up, or when there's a big argument, or where there's like some, fire, rage, where there's tension that blows, and what happens, and how to deal with it. So today there's a little incident at school. Nothing, gladly nothing happened. And to tell you the truth, I don't know if I did make a mistake or not, but luckily everyone was safe when I turned left into school. And so I drove away from school, and I was just like, I haven't slept a lot, and I'm like quite shook up by being shouted at like that. It's not pleasant. And I had to kind of go in, and I saw the instant reaction was like, crazy lady, or like, I did indicate, I definitely indicated. And then I have to admit that I don't know if I did. Normally I do, and Isla thinks I did. But anyway, the point is that both me and this woman have had a bad start to the day. And I sank into, I can either go feel awful and really drop into feeling really guilty and shame and holding on to that for hours and hours and hours, which just makes me feel really uncomfortable thinking about it. And I know that that's how I used to deal with things. I'd feel guilt and shame for long periods of time about different things that had happened, and it becomes toxic within you. It becomes something quite it's a toxic energy to carry when you can't forgive yourself, when you don't know how to forgive yourself. And so what happened really throughout the day was me realising that wasn't going to help. Me feeling guilt and shame, and what could have happened, and what if this could have happened, and oh my god, worst case scenario. It wasn't helpful. That's like worrying. It's not helpful to anyone for me to drop into that. So that was quite quick. I kind of moved away from feeling guilt and shame. But I have taken responsibility. I did take responsibility. I was like, there's a possible chance that I didn't indicate. That's a 50% chance. And, I can take responsibility for that. And that's why I apologised immediately. But, you could also go the other way and be in complete denial and blame them and be like, and that's not healthy either. So what I chose to do instead was to have complete empathy for her. She was obviously, yes, she was like totally in my face and quite violent with it. But she was probably having a really crap day. You just don't know what people are dealing with. And I also had complete empathy and compassion for me, because I was shook up and I might have made a mistake, but even so, I also have to have compassion for myself that we do make mistakes. So I fell into kind of like empathy and compassion for both of us in both our scenarios, and I just found it quite interesting, the whole of today, and how to deal with that kind of thing, because this happens to us all the time in our relationship. Not all the time, but there's tension. People have road rage, people have difficult jobs and transfer. So let's say like someone has a bad day, someone's angered them, they take it out on the next person. So for all I know, that lady had a really bad day and took it out on me, So it's just, I hope you guys like my Bjork face. It's really cool. It moves with you. It's like a Facebook filter. So I'm just seeing a couple of people jump on, and I'm just talking about what happens when there's big tensions between people, and like an explosion, like blame and accusation and arguing and like and that something like that happened to me this morning, and just having to figure out how to deal with it and not be shook up all day long, not to be in toxic resentment or guilt or shame, and not to be in blame or delusion or resentment against this poor woman. I mean, I don't know how she's dealt with it today, but she probably isn't feeling great about her reaction or about what she thinks might have happened. So I've just been observing myself today about how I deal with that kind of thing, and yeah, I just think that a big step was taking a moment to really forgive myself for any perceived mistake, whether or not I did make a mistake driving or not. It was to forgive myself as quickly as possible and take responsibility for either having made a mistake or for being, shook up and carrying the resentment of someone else. So that was the first step, was like, whew, relax the shoulders, relax the face, go in for a moment and just really take a moment to take a breath and let the energy shift through me. Because I think people, like a big argument or a big trauma or a big, falling out with someone, it can really reside in your body a long time. And you see it all the time in sessions that people have like shoulders are bunched up, or there's like a rigid, or there's like a closing in the posture, and all that kind of thing can be from a big blow up with someone, or carrying guilt and resentment from some past thing, and it starts becoming an actual holding pattern in your physical body or in your cells or in your emotions, and it can affect like everything. It's like looking at the bullying stuff I was talking about a few weeks ago. A lot of people I've talked to, like adults, still are slightly traumatized by the bullying they had when they were teenagers. This stuff doesn't go away unless you really know how to, get rid of it. And I'm just thinking now, like, of dogs when they have some sort of shock. They have a big shake off. They shake off the tension so they can carry on. So for me, I didn't shake off. What I did was just take a moment to really treat myself kindly, because it was a bit of a shock situation, and also be kind towards that person even if they're not in front of me. But I instantly forgave her for losing the plot, because she was scared for whatever she thought was going to happen, and also possibly having a bad day. But what I also found super interesting is that over the years, and of trusting myself and being there for me, like really knowing that I can rely on myself, that I have this inner resilience and a strength, like a core strength that I've built up over a long time, of continuously being there for me, of trusting myself, of being compassionate for myself, in fact, I can't even say it, having empathy for myself, that I was there for me when this thing shook me up. So I wasn't shook up for that long. I could come back to my center and to my core and know that I trusted myself to be there for me. So that was another interesting thing I thought of a difficult situation, is the more you can build your inner emotional resilience and thank you. Thank you, Ruby. She says lovely. So I've slept very little, so I'm actually very tired, and I'm just going to check I've said everything I wanted to say. Yeah, so I think when there's a big argument or tensions like that, it's important to obviously take responsibility if you've done something or upset someone, that's important, but also to start being there for yourself so that you can't be thrown off by other people. Because I know that, you know, even a few years ago, if someone upset me or I felt hurt by something, I could feel thrown off center for weeks. I would be really upset, like my center was oscillating left and right, and things could really shake me up. But now I feel stronger and stronger in my core that I'm there for me. I'm there for me. I hope this made sense tonight, because I do feel a bit rambly. Yeah, and just another part, just the last part of that. Battery's going. Another part of that is just understanding energy and understanding anger and emotion coming towards you, or when you and what it means to be all shook up like that. The more you understand about how energy works and how emotions work and how vibrations work and how different energies work, the more you can be resilient and rely on yourself. And the more, it's like understanding dynamics of, you know, like how a wave moves back and forth, or how gravity works. It's the same with our emotions. The more we understand, the more we can create, the more we can create resilience and proper groundedness. I think I'm going to go, unless anyone has any questions, or if anyone feels like they oh, hi Lucy. I'm going to jump on a call with you in a minute. If anyone else feels like that they have built strength and resilience over time, let's see if I can get some interaction on this thing. Has anyone out there felt like you know, they have an argument and they've noticed over the years that they actually get better at it, of being less thrown off? Or do you still get really thrown off? How do you feel when something blows up? I know that for me, I'm getting better at it. No? I do like my Bjork face thing. Well, I think I'm going to let you guys go, and I'm going to go get myself to bed and sleep a full night. I woke up every hour last night. Life is just too exciting. Well, lots of peace and lots of love, and keep building on trusting yourselves every single day. Good night.